everybody. Welcome to Things in My Head. I'm Angel Birch, your host. Today we are going to be talking turkey. That's right. It's only a week away from Thanksgiving, and we've got Chef Laura on the show today to talk to us about how to make the perfect turkey, how to make the dressing cup, and maybe a few sides that you didn't think of would go with your perfect meal. So stay tuned. Right after this, we're going to be talking with Chef Laura about the Thanksgiving dinner. How would you like to win $500 cash? Coupon Coach Lisa and the couponing couple have teamed up to host their biggest giveaway this year. $500 for you to spend just in time for Black Friday. Buy Christmas presents or groceries, or buy yourself that little sum you've been wanting. However you spend it is totally up to you. You only have until November 24th, so go to couponcoachlisa.com now and enter this amazing giveaway. This giveaway is not affiliated in any way with Facebook or other couponing sites or affiliates. Void where prohibited. Hey everybody, we're back with Chef Laura. So Thanksgiving is next week. We're going to get some turkey tips. We're going to get some ideas on what to put on the table. Maybe a little special something to put in the dressing. Whatever it takes to make that holiday meal special for you and your family. Welcome, Chef Laura. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. So the turkey. This is the biggest question everybody always has. How can I make my turkey moist on the inside, crispy and nice and brown and golden on the outside?
It's pretty easy. The biggest thing is you have to raise your temperature to 425 in your oven. A lot of people, out of habit, we put things on 325, 350, and it doesn't get it crisp and it gets dried out too fast.
How long does it take to thaw out a turkey? That's a good question. How long does it really take to thaw out a turkey? I've heard overnight. I've heard a couple of days. I've heard do it in water. Don't do it in water. Do it in the oven. Don't do it in the oven. What do you do to thaw out the turkey?
It is pretty crazy, and it takes a long time. So give yourself enough time. Nobody wants a frozen turkey on Thanksgiving.
So maybe a couple of days or something?
Give yourself longer. Give yourself maybe 4 days.
Wow, 4 days.
Yeah.
How do we do this? How are we going to thaw out a turkey? Because I know we don't want the salmonella or anything. We want it to be safe. So what
Correct.
are we going to do? How are we going to do this?
There's 2 ways of doing it. One, you can do it in your refrigerator. Put it on your bottom rack. Always put poultry on the bottom because you don't want the juices to touch your other meat. The other way of doing it is the water trick, which we don't recommend, but if you're in a bind and you got to do it that way, make sure that it is cold water. You're watching it. You're turning it. Don't ever let it stay exposed.
Now, I've heard some people brine their turkey.
Oh, brining is fun. Yes.
Okay, so what is that and how do we do it?
Brining is basically just salt and sugar.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
You do need it thawed out to do that. And again, it takes about 3 or 4 days. It seals in the juices. It keeps it moist. It's kind of like your MSG, but it's better for you. It's healthier for you.
So it's natural. It's more natural.
It's natural, yes.
Awesome. Awesome. So 3 or 4 days thaw out the turkey and then another 3 or 4 days to brine it.
Correct.
With salt and sugar. Okay,
Yes.
and we want to do that again in the refrigerator, right?
Correct.
Okay, and so it's going to be fine 8 days in the refrigerator?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so we just have to make sure that our refrigerator's working correctly and we're getting a good cold in the refrigerator. We don't want our turkey to get warm.
Yes, make sure you close the refrigerator door. Yes, that's a good...
So if you have kids, tell them to close that refrigerator door. Okay, so we've got our turkey. We're going to put it in the oven. Now, is there any particular thing that we need to do to the turkey? I mean, I've heard tinfoil, I've heard tent it, I've heard don't do anything, I've heard baste it. What do you do once it's in the oven to get it that crispy golden brown and not burn it other than the temperature?
I'm going to tell you my secrets.
Ooh, Chef Laura's secrets.
We don't want to tent it too much because you're steaming it.
Ah.
And you want the higher temp to make it crisp and juicy inside.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of times we're stewing our poor turkey and not knowing it. So
Oh.
do not cover it all the way. If you want, you could put a little tent on the top so it doesn't burn too quickly. Mm-hmm. What you do is you lift up the skin on your turkey breast and you put slabs of butter.
Woo.
And that way it seals it in and it goes into your white meat and you'll have the juiciest white meat.
Wow, I never thought about that. So butter under the skin while it's raw.
Correct. And if you want to get creative, put some herbs in there. You can put your sage, you could put some thyme.
Right under the skin.
Right under the skin. And that too will go right into your meat.
Oh,
and you won't
wow.
lose it in your basting.
Wow, that is awesome. So at 400 degrees, how many hours do we cook a turkey? I mean...
It depends on your poundage.
Okay.
The bigger the turkey, the longer it's going to take. I like to get a smaller turkey. It's not so large. You don't have to cook it for such a long time. You don't have to heat up your kitchen for so long. Mm-hmm.
So is it better to get, if you have a large family or a large amount of people to feed, is it easier to get maybe smaller birds, do 2 or 3 smaller birds rather than one big one?
I think what you should do is get a smaller turkey and more sides, more vegetables, more healthier things, not as many starches. Actually, I think you should do a chicken.
Okay, so combine turkey and chicken together. Maybe that's something, that would be a really...
Not everybody likes turkey.
That's true.
And then when you're done with your dinner, who wants to eat turkey for the next week?
That's true. And then a lot of people have turkey at Christmas as well, so it's kind of overload.
True.
Let's get the tryptophan going and everybody falling asleep in the living room all at once.
Yes, exactly. But chicken, you can make many other leftover dishes afterwards. You're not wasting it. A lot of times where you're making turkey soup, and I don't know if you ever tried that, it's just not as good.
That's true. Leftover turkey sandwiches the next day, I will say, is really, really good. But I think after a couple of days, everybody's kind of turkeyed out.
You're tired of it.
Yeah, and then if you don't have a large freezer or you don't have a deep freeze, you can't freeze the broth or the soup and, whatever other things you're making. And yeah, I agree,
That's another idea also. If your family doesn't like dark meat, you can just buy the breast. You don't have to make a whole turkey.
Oh, I've seen those. Mm-hmm. They actually sell them with the dark meat cut off.
Exactly.
That is and it's cheaper that way.
Yes.
Because less pounds, right?
Right.
Okay, cool. Now we've got our turkey, and you were talking about sides earlier, and starchy sides. We love our mashed potatoes.
Oh, yes. With lots of butter. And our biscuits and our dressing. No wonder we're all sitting on the couch just falling asleep.
So what do we do to combat that? I mean, honestly, kids are not going to eat a lot of vegetables. And how much green bean casserole can you eat?
Well, if it's not tradition to have that green bean casserole with the French onions on top, kids will if you snazz up their vegetables. You can make some glazed carrots with maple syrup, corn. You can roast it before you actually put it in a pudding. That gives it a different taste. How about something like making some peppers for the side? There's so many different options.
Now, I know in the South here they like their tamales.
Oh, yes.
On the holidays. Mm-hmm. And so you get this traditional Thanksgiving dinner, and then you've got tamales on the side. It's kind of strange. But and there's so many different ways to do those as well. But again, it's a lot of starch. It's a lot of heavy sauce, a lot of starch. So really amp up the vegetables then is what you're saying. Just what about yams? What about sweet potatoes?
I love them. You can have them candied. You can have them pureed. You can have them...
Pureed. When in the South, we actually do a sweet potato pie.
Oh, yes.
So maybe something like that. I mean, a little traditional, and loaded with sugar. Hey, that's another thing. How do we get rid of so much sugar? If we're eating light, I mean, a lot of people traditionally say, oh, I'll go on a diet after the holidays. But really, I mean, I think we all need to kind of watch what we eat all the time.
That is so true, Angel. You're so right about that, because once you start the roll going, it's hard to stop.
It is. It's really hard to stop that roller coaster.
So if you start it earlier, and we can sweeten things with cinnamon, stevia, that's a great way. If you are addicted to sugar and you want that sweet tooth, use stevia.
Well, what about, now agave is another thing that's come on the market. What about that?
That depends because it's in liquid form, so you may have to change your recipe just a little bit to account for that extra moisture.
So take down some of the other liquids to account for that?
Correct. And that's where you get to play beforehand.
Try a little bit. If you have time.
Oh, we have time to be creative.
Coming from a chef. Okay, so we're going to have more vegetables. Yes. We're going to cut down on the starches. We've got our turkey as perfect. What about the dressing? Dressing is traditional no matter where you live. And I know, like for me, when I was working in the grocery store, the one thing that people would always ask me is, what can I do to my dressing to snazz it up? I don't want to just do bread dressing. I don't want to just do cornbread dressing. What can I do?
Oh, good question. There's fun stuff. You can put nuts in. You can toast your nuts first. You can use pecans. You can use walnuts, dried fruit, cranberries.
Oh, cool.
Yes, instead of having it on the side, put some dried cranberries in it, raisins, herbs, put some more sage in it. Cook your celery and onions in butter prior. Broth. Absolutely use broth. Don't use water in your dressing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes. That's a lot of flavor in that.
Okay. So turkey, chicken broth, okay?
Yes.
Either one. Okay. And I noticed you can get the low sodium, you can get the gluten-free, and you can have a really fit broth.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I use all the time. I don't go for the heavy sodium. I don't go for the MSG.
Is there any real need for that?
No. It's not good for your body whatsoever.
So it's just a preservative method for the manufacturer, basically, and
yes,
we're just feeding into the lie, everybody.
We know the truth, and we're letting you all know.
The truth will set you free. Okay. Dessert has got to be like I'm going to use my French here, piece de resistance, right? Because everybody's got to remember the dessert. Yes, you always remember the turkey no matter what, but the dessert.
Well, it's true. You'll eat so much turkey and you won't have any more room left, but you will make room for that dessert.
That's right. That's right.
So
there's the traditional pumpkin pie.
Yes.
Is there any way to kind of jazz that up a little bit? Or is it just pumpkin pie just needs to stay pumpkin pie?
I think with pumpkin pie, the way that it is already a liquidy form, you can't play with that too much.
Okay.
You have to keep it the way it is. Unless you make muffins, you can make a bread.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, it will preserve a lot longer. You can put that in the freezer.
That's true. Mm-hmm. That's true. Okay, so what besides pumpkin pie, or down south, like I said, we have sweet potato pie, what else can we do to make that dessert pleasurable?
Well, again, if you press for time, you can try to make quicker things. Mm-hmm. You can make stuff with apples. You can make an apple cobbler, peach cobbler, anything like that. That's just throwing it together, throwing it in your oven, walking away, forgetting about it, and it's done. Banana pudding, something simple with the vanilla wafers. Mm-hmm. Have fun. That's what it's all about. Enjoy your holiday as much as your guests.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as much as it seems like it's a lot, actually puddings and the sweet potato and pumpkin pie, they're really not that heavy. So I mean, like when you're doing desserts, just have one piece. Just have one bowl full, just, that little taste, and I think we'll be all right. Of course, we're all going to be like tremendously full, and we're going to have such a good time. Hey, Chef Laura.
Yes.
Will you do me a favor and come back just before Christmas too? Give us a few Christmas tips. Maybe we can learn how to make wassail. Something like that. Something to make our Christmas better.
I would love to. That would be wonderful.
That was so awesome. Okay, so you heard it here. I've got a witness that Chef Laura is going to be back just before Christmas. We're going to learn how to make some really cool traditional Christmas fare for our table. Chef Laura, thank you so much for giving us those tips. Everybody, you got to have the perfect turkey. I want you to send me pictures of your perfect turkey. Don't forget, send them to my email address at thingsinmyheadblog@gmail.com. Send me a picture of your turkey, because we'll post them on our website, and have a lot of fun with that. Let me know who you are. Don't forget to label who you are. Leave us a comment at www.thingsinmyheadblog.com, and we'll have Chef Laura come back. Everybody, next week starts our gift giving series. We're going to be talking to people who have an Etsy store at etsy.com. We're going to be talking to crafters and artisans that have things that are going to be perfect for your gift giving ideas. And we're going to go through all the way to Christmas. We're going to take a break on Christmas week, and then we're going to be back with some other great series. Remember those New Year's resolutions? We're going to be talking about those in January. So we've got a lot of great shows coming up. Don't forget to go to www.thingsinmyheadblog.com and take a listen to all of our past podcasts. Get caught up for the end of the year, because the new year is coming. Talk to you next week. And remember, don't get fat over the holidays.